Alright, in this video we're going to determine the graph of a non-degenerate conic section just by looking at its equation and being able to analyze it. So the presence of the xy term eliminates the ease in which we were previously able to classify a conic section based on its equation. So before it was looking at if there was only one quadratic, one squared term, it was a parabola. If we had a squared term that had, if our squared terms were opposite in signs, like a 5x squared and a minus 5y squared, it was a hyperbola. If they were the same value, then it was a circle. Same positive value was a circle. And if they were different positive values, then it was an ellipse. But again, those did not have xy terms in them. So with those xy terms in there, it really makes it more difficult to just look at an equation and be able to classify it. So given our equation as a non-degenerate conic section, if b squared minus 4ac, and yes, it's pretty much the same b squared minus 4ac you remember from quadratic formula, if that result comes out to be positive, then the graph is a hyperbola. If it comes out to be 0, it's a parabola. And if it comes out to be less than 0, it is an ellipse or a circle. So one of three things will happen when calculating b squared minus 4 times a times c. If that result's positive, you got a hyperbola. If it's 0, you got a parabola. And if it is less than 0, you have an ellipse or a circle. So example 3, classify each of the following. So this was the same as example 1b, which we know is an ellipse if we go back to that video. But in terms of being able to calculate it without having a graphing calculator at all, we have a is 21, b is 10 times the square root of 3, and c is 31. So when we calculate b squared minus 4 times a times c, we get a negative number, and because it's negative, it is an ellipse, as we hopefully remember from the first or from the second video in this section. For this one, we have a is 5, b is 26, and c is 5. So b squared minus 4ac gives us a positive number, which represents a hyperbola. So if we did not have any graphing calculator available, then we could determine this is a hyperbola by calculating b squared minus 4ac and noting that it results in a positive number. Right, part C, we have 16x squared plus 24xy plus 9y squared, and then a is 16, b is 24, c is 9. So b squared minus 4ac results in 0. So what we have here is a parabola. All right, that about does it for this section. We'll see you next time.